Hello and welcome to Arizona Express. I'm your host, Marcelo Dietrich. My guest today is Heather Murphy, who arranges microloans to widows in India. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you.
Now tell us, Heather, what was your motivation for starting this organization?
This organization started as my college thesis. I was an accounting and finance major at Arizona State University, and I created a business plan, of best practices for nonprofits that do microfinance. But the passion for this project started freshman year. I had a friend whose father passed away, and his mother had a lot of trouble finding a loan to support her 3 boys when she was starting a new business. I started doing some research and trying to find her help, and then stumbled across an article about Indian widows. There's a lot of Indians who are committing suicide. They're farmers, and they're committing suicide because they can't repay the debt that they owe the banks. Maybe because they purchased seed and the crop failed, or they purchased business machinery and their business went under. And because debt is inherited through the male line, they commit suicide to have their debt forgiven, but they're leaving behind women and children who can't support themselves.
Now, what is the name of your organization?
Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative. We call it WE, W-E-I. And our website is wecreatechange.org, W-E-I, create change.
Now, what does your organization do?
We provide 4 main services to villages in India. We provide vocational training, microloans, voter registration, and community meetings. So we train women in a vocational field of their choice. We arrange apprenticeships, and we fund that training. Then we provide them with microloans for business assets. We purchase the assets for them to start their business, and as they become profitable, they repay us. We also register all of our program participants to vote, because it's very important to us that our women are decision makers in their community. Entrepreneurs set an example for higher achievement for other women. And we also bring groups of women together to have a safe environment to share business practices, life stories, anything that they feel comfortable sharing with one another.
You had mentioned vocational training. What kind of vocational training do you offer?
We really offer vocational training in any area that they show interest. We can arrange apprenticeships with anyone in the village or even outside that village if necessary. For example, projects that we've done are jewelry projects. They hand make these sandalwood bracelets and hand paint them. We also provide a tailoring school in one of the villages, and they make saris such as this one. We've done candle making projects that are sold all over the United States and within India. And there's a lot of women who are interested in traditionally male-dominated fields. We'll train them in refrigeration repair, bicycle repair, really anything of their choice.
Now, you said you give them loans. Now, what are the loans used for, if you could elaborate on that?
We purchase business assets. We do not actually hand money over to anyone because it ensures that there won't be a misappropriation of any assets. We believe that by purchasing those assets for them, there's no trials or tribulations in actually spending that money for that. They may not have enough food to eat that day or want to put their children through school, and we don't want them to have the burden of taking that money and then being unable to repay it. So really, we give them the freedom to run their own business without having any difficulty repaying that.
Okay. Now, I understand that you went to India, spent some time there,
Yes.
And you brought video for us.
Yes.
That we're going to roll, and you're going to talk to.
This is from my trip in April and May of this year. This is a typical Indian village. They're living on less than $1 a day. As you can see, the houses are made from natural elements: sticks, mud, dung, anything they can find. And of course, we'll see the cows wandering through the streets. We're coming up on a community meeting of men on the sidewalk, maybe a village council, maybe they're changing something. This is a government water truck bringing water to a tribal village that's 9 kilometers outside of town. They carry the water 1 mile up the hill to their house, and that is the only water that they have for a week. There's no in between. Here we have some children who are really interested in the camera, a boy holding his little brother for us, and there's going to be a little girl showing us her brother watching from afar. They were really interested in the technology they had never seen. These are children bringing water up to their schoolhouse. And as you can see, there's always time for play.
Now, it's in villages like this that you have met these women that you work with. Talk about some of the women you've worked with.
I've heard many touching stories in my time in India. I lived there 3 months last year and met with over 500 widows in our meetings. One woman who really, really touched me was a woman in one of our smaller village meetings in Maharashtra, which is a state in India. And she shared a story about her husband's suicide. He had killed their oldest daughter prior to committing suicide, and also threw kerosene on her and lit her on fire prior to his suicide. And when she stood up, you could see that she was that traditional dark South Indian, but she had many white spots that scarred her face, her arms, and her stomach. It was very, very touching and courageous of her to share her story. And this is why I do what I do. This is where my passion comes from.
Now, this organization that you have passion for, how do you differ from other microfinancing organizations?
We pride ourselves on being different. We're really a social organization. We're making a difference in these women's lives. We're not earning interest off of them. There's a big focus on social responsible investing where people can earn some interest off of this. There's nothing wrong with that, but we feel that the lowest interest possible is what's necessary. Some villages, we don't charge interest. Some we do because they can handle it with the time value of money. But we really, really, our focus is the women. We do not want to put a burden on them. We really want them to be able to get up outside of this daily wage life that they live and support their children.
Now, recently in the media, a lot of microfinancing companies have been getting a bad rap. What do you say to these critics?
I think people really need to do their due diligence. They need to do their research, where they're donating, where they're investing, how people are being affected by it. I myself have had stories shared with me when I'm over in India about loan sharks coming after people, physically harming their families. And so it's very near and dear to my heart that people are making a difference and not just earning money off of these women.
Now, explain to the viewers the difference that this money that you provide offers.
When people are living on $1 a day, $100 could help 100 people survive. We purchase sewing machines, a table, cloth, all the thread and supplies necessary for under $100. And these women are, given a job to support their families, their children, their parents, their in-laws. And their biggest goal is actually not for themselves. It's for their children to attain higher education and to really move up and out of that daily wage society. So these women are setting examples within their home and outside in their villages and their states and their country and for the world to see.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, the website is WeCreateChange.org.
WEI.
WEI, WeCreateChange.org. Go to the website. There's some different fundraising devices that you can partake in with actual items from India. Now, that's all the time we have for today. If you would like to learn more about the work that Heather does, you can visit her website at, again, WeCreateChange.org. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Arizona Express. I'm your host, Marcelo Dietrich. Thank you for watching.